So Gobekli Tepe, brother, if there is such a thing as an ancient conspiracy theory, it's this. So I remember hearing Graham Hancock come on your show back in like 2015 or 2017, and he was talking about Gobekli Tepe. And at that time, he had shared that the site was only approximately 5% excavated. It's the first video on my channel. It's like August 2017, and I shared the details of it. These pillars dates back 11,600 years. It appears to be purposely buried at the same time of the Younger Dryas climate catastrophe. This is fascinating. And, excavations were continuing. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to backburn this topic of Gobekli Tepe for a little while, let them further their excavations, and I'll revisit this later when there's something new to share. So earlier this summer, I'm like, all right, let me revisit Gobekli Tepe and see what's new there. And I was astonished to learn that 5% figure was still the same. Have you heard this?
Yeah, I've watched your videos on it.
Yeah, YouTube channel, Bright Insight. Subscribe.
It's undeniably strange. Your videos are undeniably strange. So here's some images where you could see what it kind of looks like along with this globalheritagefund.org story on it. So it shows 5%, 5%.
Right. And that figure is still the same as of 2023. Yeah. I had there's a lady who does tours there and corroborated the 5% figure. And then there's a gentleman named Hugh Newman, who's an author and also leads tours. And he communicated with me that what they were going to do, and I couldn't believe this, they're going to defer a full-scale excavation for, quote, future generations with a 150-year estimated time frame for a full excavation of Gobekli Tepe. And I'm like, wait a second. Are you serious? Like, this makes no sense. We're talking about arguably not just the world's oldest ancient site, but arguably the most mysterious, because it's like you were just saying, it's not supposed to exist. Based on everything we were taught in school, it's supposed to be the Sumerians. And then you have the site of Gobekli Tepe, made up of sophisticated pillars and concentric circles.
At least 5,000 years older.
Yeah, older than almost 7,000 years older than Stonehenge, and Stonehenge is a mystery of itself. Right. So I start Googling and looking into the details. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. How could they defer excavations for future generations when this may be the most important ancient site on Earth involving our mysterious lost ancient past? And so I started digging into this, and I couldn't believe what I found. So they were doing large-scale excavations, but that has since ceased. Just to clarify, they are still excavating Gobekli Tepe, but they have rolled and dialed back the large-scale excavations of the years prior, and they are focusing on conservation and tourism management of the site. And like I said, with a 150-year time frame, and I'm like, wait a second. I can't, and I have all the screenshots in that folder.
Because of funding?
Absolutely not. So not only have they never claimed that it's related to funding, but this is where things get bizarre, is that there's a Turkish conglomerate called the Doges Group, which consists of 250 companies within Turkey. It's $1 billion industry, and they're the ones that took over management and funding of the site back in 2017, and they announced this at all places, the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos. In 2016 is when they announced this partnership. Initial funding of $15 million. At that time, they set up the infrastructure for tourism. Roads, sidewalks, walkways, roofing platforms. And since then is when they dialed back the excavations. And I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense. So let me just be crystal clear here. It has nothing to do with funding, and they've never claimed it has anything to do with funding. But their excuses, they have said, one of which is that, well, we want to wait for future technologies to develop so we can more safely excavate the site. And I'm like, wait a second, hold on a second. We're talking about pillars buried in dirt. It's 2024. Do not tell me that we do not have the technological capability to dig rocks up.
What would be an alternative explanation?
So, okay, this is where things get fun.
Oh, boy.
So,
rabbit hole, here we go.
Fun. I love a good rabbit hole.
Let me say a couple of things before I get into it. One of which is that them saying that they're waiting for a future technology to develop to safely excavate the site, I'm like, what type of magical shovel or pressure water hose are we talking about here?
Vacuum, a dirt vacuum.
Right. And since they're saying that they're continuing to excavate the site today, Since they're saying they continue to excavate the site today, I'm like, well, which is it? Are you saying that you're doing so in unsafe methods? And I already know that's not the answer because there's been no issue with destructing the site from digging it up. It's not like they broke a pillar and like, oh, dang, wait a second, we need to walk this back. We're not doing things safely. Right. That's not the case here. So there are a few explanations here.
Okay, here's what I want to hear.
So one of which is that the most logical explanation, this is the less conspiratorial one, which is that it has to do with money. You have this Turkish conglomerate of people that are saturated with members of the World Economic Forum. For example, the CEO of the Doges Group is a longtime member of the World Economic Forum. That may backburn the World Economic Forum for a half a second. They're business people. They took over the site, and it's all about money now. Back in 2019, Gobekli Tepe had approximately 19,000 visitors yearly. Now it's at 500,000. Their focus, if nothing else, they're just trying to bring revenue in. It's tourism. All about money. Yeah, they don't care about excavating the rest of the site.
$15 more million, it's not going to bring $15 more million in revenue.
Right, and they just want their money back. Okay.
Right.